Welcome to the 4.3 journal for Algebra 1. Writing equations of parallel and perpendicular lines. This is also used in geometry next year. This is a pretty key topic. It's also challenging. Some steps, if you can get through this one, you're going to pass the class. Okay, let's start off with these words here. We're on page 108 in your journal. Parallel lines. Right there, two lines in the same plane which do not intersect. Key idea. We're going to use a little bit more of this one in the purple here. Two non-vertical lines with the blank slope. That would be the same slope. I don't know why this is so low. Let's move it up a little bit. Remember, rate of change is another word for slope. Perpendicular lines. Two lines in the same plane which meet at right angles or 90-degree angles. Okay. In the blue here, second definition, two non-vertical lines whose slopes are, the book calls them negative reciprocals. I don't like that word. I prefer opposite reciprocals or opposite and reciprocal. My blues don't match up. Oh well. And negative makes it always sound negative. Opposite, you have to change the sign. You're actually changing the signs there. So, some parallel lines and slopes. Let's look at this here. Two lines in the same plane that never intersect are parallel lines. So, we don't talk much about the same plane. We kind of assume that for most of the work we do, but that's the underlying thing. They don't intersect. Non-vertical lines. Vertical lines are parallel too, by the way, but they don't have slope. Are parallel if and only if they have the same slope. That means if they have the same slope, they're also parallel. Remember, if and only if biconditional works both ways. Key concepts for slope here. AX plus BY equals C. That's our standard form. Remember, your slope is equal to the opposite of A over B. So when I want to find this, I'm thinking, go away clock. That's AX plus BY equals C. A is 3. B is negative 4. So that gives me, since A is 3, the opposite of 3 over negative 4. That means I'm going to get 3/4 for my slope. Okay, I'll try to write bigger next time. Sorry about that. Y equals mx plus b, our slope-intercept form. You should be able to find the slope there too. Just the slope is no x in the slope, it's the number in front of the x. Just remember that. Perpendicular lines and slope, two lines in the same plane that intersect to form right angles are perpendicular lines. Non-vertical lines that are perpendicular if and only if. That's that biconditional thing. It works both ways. Their slopes are negative reciprocals. Again, I prefer opposite reciprocals. And we'll do that. They have the examples here. If you look at these slopes over here, you got negative 2. The opposite of negative 2 is positive 2. And then, reciprocal of 2 would be 1/2. And you can see that's the slope right there. These are, what do you call it, perpendicular. So again, this is a bad example. It's just working this one backwards. You should see it should end up at negative 2. Fill in the boxes. Remember, use your pause button. Try to answer things before I do. Just because I don't say pause doesn't mean you shouldn't pause. You should pause this. Try to fill in those blanks. Thank you for doing that. You should have got the opposite is -1/2, and then the reciprocal is 2. I write it over here. My parallel slope to this line would be the same. It'd be 1/2. My perpendicular slope is going to be, I forgot a negative there. That should be -2. I forgot to bring my negative over. Almost missed that. But remember, M sub parallel, parallel slope. M sub perpendicular, perpendicular slope. Again, if my slope I have over here is -3, my parallel slope's always going to be the same. The opposite is 3. The reciprocal is 1/3. This would be equal to 1/3 there for the perpendicular. Label your points. So there's a couple ways you can label the points, or you can count it out. I'll label the points first. So I have A done up here. I'm going to put this C down here a little bit more. And we're going to have -1 minus 2 over -2 minus -1. That goes to plus a positive. It's going to give me -3 over -1, which is a +3. That makes sense. This is a positive slope. It's going up from left to right. It's fairly steep. That looks good. I prefer the more old-fashioned way of counting it out. So, rise over run. I went up 4. I ran 1. That's going to give me 4 over 1, or a slope of 4. That's not equal to 3. That's not parallel. I'm going to do the last one here the same way. I'm going to rise 4, run 1. That's the same slope, 4 over 1. That gives me 4. So I have B is parallel to C. I come over here, I can check that. I got lines B and C written right there, have the same slope. That means they're parallel. The explaining, that is the showing of your slopes and how you got them. Okay, I expect to see steps. Write the fraction, don't just write the slope over there. Try to write a little neater than I do. Okay. Come down here, you can do the same thing. X1s, Y1s, X2s, Y2s. Don't forget, you can always X2, Y2, X1, Y1. You're going to get the same thing. 5 and 6 are a little trickier. You can get them in slope-intercept form if you want, or you can, which is this over here, or you can use your standard form. This line A is pretty easy to get into standard form. Plus 3y, plus 3y. That gives me 4x plus 3y equals 9. I can get my slope from that. Remember, we have m is equal to the opposite of a over b. That's the opposite of 4 over 3. And yeah, I can't write, I gotta write bigger. Equals -4 over 3. That's my slope, and I should have written this here. M of line A equals that. So that's my slope of line A. Line B. Again, you could get this in standard form. 8y equals -6x. I can write this up here. I'm going to do it like this with this purple marker. I'm going to divide by 8. I'm going to divide by 8. I'm going to get this one into slope-intercept form. 8 over 8 is just y. Remember, when I divide by 8 here, it's divide by 8, divide by 8. negative 6 over 8. I can divide those by 2. That's negative 3 over 4x plus 2. My slope is right there. M of line B equals negative 3/4. Sorry. That's not the same as this one, so that's not parallel. I can do the same thing here. I got 4y equals negative 3x plus 9. I'm just going to divide by 4. Y equals negative 3/4 x plus 9 over 4. I'm not worried about that last fraction, but I see this slope and this slope are the same. So for this problem, I have line B is parallel to C. That's another one we got right there. Okay, for 7 and 8 down here, let's get old red out again. For 7 and 8 down here, write an equation of the line that passes through the given point and is parallel to the given line. I'm going to use some point slope form to get these equations. Okay, I'm going to make another video. There's another way they show in the book in this section on doing it. You're welcome to use that. You may have been taught it before. I'll mention it in class. But I'm going to use our point slope form over here. That's what they showed in the book, and I may use the other method later. We'll see. So I have my point here. This is my x and my y. Here's my slope. So the slope of my original line is 1/3. I want to go through that point. I want to be parallel. So my parallel slope has to be the same. That's 1/3. That's what I'm going to use in the equation. I'm not going to use, it's the same as this, but I'm using the one they asked for. They want a parallel slope. It's the parallel slope they get. So I'm using this equation again. So that's going to be, I should say x1, y1 there. So that's going to be y minus negative 1 equals 1/3 x minus 3. That goes to plus a positive, so it's y plus 1. Going to distribute 1/3 x. 1/3 of 3 is 1. Positive times negative is negative. Minus 1 minus 1. Y equals 1/3 x minus 2. Come over here. I got that answer. It's looking good. So try the same thing on number 8. We're pretty close to out of time here. I'm going to end it on this one right here. I'm going to do this last page on a separate video. We'll see you on the other side in just a minute.